Welcome back, everybody. Hello, YouTubers. Adjustment, not too much. There we go. Sorry, playing with there we go. That works. Okay. Hello. I like to have the Christmas decor. Let me get you. Actually, TikTok is almost ready here. Go live. All right. And then we are set. One sec here. Flip my camera. Boom. I'm going to try to, let's see. I'm sitting up today. Let's see how long that lasts. But I will try. Hey, Sam Smith and Faro on TikTok. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. How are folks doing today? Just my YouTube. We're still on TikTok. Another 5 weeks to go. So far, so good. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Michael. Thank you, Running, for the gift. Hello, Earthlings. I'm doing okay so far. Hey, Carol, Elizabeth, John. So far, my back isn't hurting yet. I'm like waiting. It may be just starting to kick in. We'll see. Hey, Carol. If need be, I will slouch again. I'm trying to give the back a rest, but I had like one ibuprofen earlier and it's feeling a little better. I know, stabbing my voodoo doll. Thank you, Marcia. No one's stabbing the voodoo doll. Thank you, Running. Thank you. Who's that? KT. It's improved. I'm still considering just slouching to give it a rest because I feel like the nerves need to just calm down. My back has been having issues. Not going to kill anybody. No, don't worry. Everybody's safe. Back pain. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Catherine. Oh, man. Man. Sign up for YouTube and subscribe there. Thank you, Magic. Very important. Thank you, Max Trax. Masha. Who was that? Oh, Max Trax had the heart me. Thank you. And Marsha with a good evening. Hannah. Thank you guys for all the gifts here. Yep, for all the TikTokers, not a bad idea to follow me on YouTube and elsewhere, just to be safe. Thank you, Courtney and Hannah. Adventures. My YouTube is John Aravosis DC. John, last name up there somewhere. DC. Do I think the TikTok ban will go through? I think there's a 50-50 chance, actually. Very interesting. Exactly, only about a month to give John your coin balance. Yeah, well, hopefully. I have a feeling what might happen. Ash just put my YouTube address down. Hey, Adventures. Hey, Diana. In terms of the TikTok ban, I have a feeling what might happen is TikTok might get banned for a few days, and then Congress is going to fix it. Gunther. Congress is going to fix it, I think. TikTok, if you watch, TikTok does not pay me much money at all. No, TikTok does. YouTube pays me next to nothing. I'd say 80% of my income comes from TikTok, which is bad because it may be disappearing. But nonetheless, you got to follow me somewhere if TikTok disappears. But no, I would say I think there's a 50-50 chance of TikTok getting banned temporarily. My suspicion is that, well, here's the problem, okay? The new Congress comes into power January 3rd, January 4th, meaning the Republicans take over Congress, right? We just had an election, president, but also for Congress. The president gets sworn in January 20th. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Marshall, for the gifts. The Congress gets sworn in the beginning of January, so like January 3rd, maybe January 4th. So the Republicans will control Congress as of early January. They could potentially pass a fix, not potentially, they could pass a fix for TikTok. They could change the law. They could repeal the law. But it's got to pass the president. Would Biden sign it? And if they try to overpower the veto, they probably don't have enough of a vote to override the veto. That means they'd have to wait for Trump to take over. Thank you, Larissa. Trump currently is supportive of TikTok. Thank you, Tracy. Trump did try to ban TikTok repeatedly when he was president. Then he had a private meeting with a big TikTok investor, a billionaire investor who was invested in TikTok. And after the secret meeting that nobody knows what happened, Trump suddenly supports TikTok. What a miracle. It's a miracle. So my suspicion is if Republicans in Congress amend the law to save TikTok, Trump will sign it. That can't happen until January 20th. Trump isn't president until the 20th, but TikTok gets closed down January 19th. I think TikTok might close down, meaning banned in America for all intents and purposes. I think there's a good chance of it happening. Maybe for a short time, which still kind of sucks because, like, for all of us, like, hello, we make our living off of this. But, having said that, it's anyway. Hey, Marsha, thank you for that. It's a little scary. TikTok, as for Biden, God only knows. I mean, look, nobody supported TikTok. Trump tried to ban it repeatedly. Okay. Democrats don't like it either because of the Chinese parent company. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Denise. Democrats and Republicans pretty equal on not liking China. All right. Thank you, Tarmo. So that's what gets interesting, except that Trump had a secret meeting with a billionaire. Thank you, Martin, for the gift. And Tarmo, Trump had a secret meeting with a billionaire and suddenly changed his mind. You can guess what happened in that secret meeting with the billionaire that made Trump change his mind after trying to ban TikTok repeatedly? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway. All right, guys. So welcome. I am John Aravosis. Welcome to the show. This is my nightly show I do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, U.S. Thank you, Running, for the gift. I will usually we talk about Ukraine. We also talk about the other news in the world. Tonight, we'll talk about Syria. There isn't a ton of new news from Syria, actually, but we can talk about Syria. We'll talk about Ukraine. There's some news from Ukraine, not a ton. I will say it's funny because yesterday was such a big news day. But today, not as big a news day, so we'll see. But I think we can start talking about Syria and then go to Ukraine. One quick little thing. I don't know if he's on tonight, but the auctions that finished last week, one person has not gotten back to me. The guy who won the Wagner patch, D. Gilliam, has not gotten back to me either to pay or even to respond. If he does not soon, then I'm going to go to the second person who bid, and that would be Bloodclaw. And after Bloodclaw, we have Wandering Chill. So I don't know if any of them are real people who watch the show, but I'm a little annoyed. Doesn't happen too often, but not very nice when people bid and then they disappear after the auction. So not a good thing, but we shall see. In any case, guys, let's get rolling here. Jelani, this I thought was interesting. Well, the Wagner patch it's an auction. So, the latest, he bid 140. I think the next person bid 110, I think. It wasn't you, Russell. Not unless you're D. Gilliam, Bloodclaw, or Wandering Chill. Or I'm going to yank it and auction it again another time. Thank you, Bill. Because that patch is too nice. I'm not gonna go down too far in terms of knocking the price down because those things are very expensive. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Betsy. So let's talk about Syria a little bit first. Everybody knows more or less what happened in Syria, right? There was a revolution. The revolutionaries won. Freedom won. Whether freedom keeps winning, we don't know. We'll see. Israel has been hitting targets, though, honestly, it's kind of smart of them to do it. Thank you, Christina. Some people have been asking, why is Israel hitting targets in Syria? Well, because Syria just got taken over by some guys who hate Israel. They were ISIS. They were Al-Qaeda. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. Thank you, Marsha. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living, at least for the next 5 weeks. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Betsy. These guys who took over, nobody knows. They claim to have reformed. They claim to not be terrorists anymore. Let's hope that's true. First indications are pretty good. I mean, first indications are good. If you're Israel and you're on the border, somebody just took over the country next to you who hates you and who, until recently, was Islamic fundamentalist terrorists. If you're Israel, it kind of makes sense to go in and blow the crap out of every weapon system you can before these guys get a hold of it. Here's why. A couple things. One, the Russians fled, okay? Assad's army fled. The dictator's army itself fled. You've got a lot of weapon systems just sitting there. You don't want those weapon systems going to Iran. You don't want them going to other terrorist groups. But you also, if you're Israel, thank you, Mrs. Toad, you also don't want them going to the guys in power either, because these guys in power at least used to be terrorists. They used to be terrorists who hate you, right? Who want to destroy you. Thank you, Kronos. So if you're Israel, thank you, Maggie, it actually makes sense. But here's why, especially. It makes sense to go in and blow up the weapons before the new Syrian government gets it, because the new Syrian government doesn't have the weapons yet. I mean, there's an interesting wrinkle here, guys. It's one thing if Israel had gone in and attacked Assad and blew up his troops. Now, they've done that occasionally. Thank you, Annie. But had they gone full bore to blow up Assad's military, that would have caused a regional war. Okay? It could have brought the Russians in. It could have brought the Iranians in, Hezbollah. I mean, you literally could have had a regional war. Israel right now is not attacking the new leaders in HTS, let's call them, right? I mean, I don't know what else to call them, but the main group was HTS. Israel isn't attacking the new Syrian leaders. They're attacking the weapons that the new Syrian leaders haven't gotten their hands on yet. That's safer, right? I mean, it's one thing, and I'm saying strategically here, right? If you're Israel, thank you, Annie, thank you, Marcia, thank you, Matthew. Strategically, if you attack the weapons before Jelani is his name, the new guy taking over Syria, if you blow up the weapons before Jelani gets his hands on them, you're not blowing up Jelani, you're not blowing up Jelani's troops, right? You're blowing up weapons that he hasn't gotten yet. I mean, that's obnoxious if you're Jelani, but it's not the same thing as blowing up Jelani's forces that are in the weapons, right? So it's actually very smart what Israel is doing, whether you like it or not. But strategically, Israel is basically trying to get rid of the weapons now before the new Syrian government takes over, because they live next door and it's not clear if the new Syrian government is going to be good or bad. So anyway, that's what's going on with Israel. A lot of people have talked about that. Thank you, Adventures. Jelani, so here's what Jelani said today. This I thought was very interesting. Listen to this. Jelani said today that the Syrian people are exhausted. So Jelani is the new guy running Syria, okay? Said the Syrian people are exhausted from war and are not ready for another one. Quote, the source of our, listen to this. Now, this is what's interesting. He says the source of our fears was from the Iranian militias, so Iran, Hezbollah, which is the terrorist group in Lebanon, and the regime, Assad, which committed the massacres we are seeing today. So their removal is the solution for Syria. The current situation won't allow for a return to panic. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. Thank you, Marcia. Let's just reiterate this. He says the people causing problems in Syria are Iran, which is actually good because it means he's not going to let Iran muck around. And Iran used to use Syria to get weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon. So he's saying no more of that, which is amazing news for the entire region, and especially for the Israelis, but actually especially for the Lebanese. Thank you, dog named Ellie, for the crab. Appreciate that. Mrs. Toad, Sandria. So the first thing is Iran is screwed. Secondly, Hezbollah is screwed, the terrorist group in Lebanon, because they're not going to get weapons from Iran anymore. Third, the Lebanese people are unscrewed. Their Lebanese people are helped a lot because the terrorist group that's been terrorizing their country is no longer getting weapons. That's really good. Who he doesn't mention is Russia, which I thought was interesting. He didn't mention Russia. That's it, because Russia was just behind the regime as much as Iran was, as much behind Assad. So that's a little troublesome because we don't want a situation where the Russians are able to basically reach a deal with these guys and keep their military base. The Russians have an air base, but they also have a naval base, a very, very important naval base. Thank you, Marcia. Their only naval base the Russians have in the Mediterranean. We do not want the Russians to be able to keep that base. It's very important. So let's see. What else? I'm just looking to see if anybody else had sort of Syria. I'm going to move on to Ukraine. There's no more Syria news today. It was CNN confirmed, well, it didn't confirm, but basically all those reports of thousands of men being trapped in the basements of the prisons, so far it looks like it wasn't true, meaning they didn't find anybody, so it looks like it's okay, which is good news. Thank you, Succeed. And Turkey actually is going after the Kurds in the north as well. Exactly. It's not just Israel. Noah asks, could Trump negotiate with HTS, which is the lead group that Jelani runs, which is the lead group that was tied to terrorism? Could Trump negotiate with them and remove their terrorist group ID? Yeah. There was just a report an hour ago that Biden is considering removing their designation as a terrorist group. So, I mean, of course, Trump can. Biden can as well. Would he? Who knows? From a Trump position, there might be less incentive from Trump because Trump is going to be even more tied to Israel than Biden is. I mean, any American president is going to be very, very tied to Israel, but Trump even more so. So Israel probably isn't thrilled about lifting the terror designation and America having a closer relationship with the Syrian government, my guess. But Trump could and Biden could. I think Biden's more likely to do it. But of course, if Biden does it, he's gone in 2 months. Actually, 6 weeks, right? So Biden could do it and Trump could say, and turn around and change, right? Nordic Warrior says, do you think the U.S. government should support the new government regime? I think so. Thank you, Liv. Here's the thing. We can always cut them off. If these guys want to turn over a new leaf, let's let them turn over a new leaf. Let them prove it. Now, that doesn't mean we give them everything and then they say, ha ha, right? Thank you, Liv. Thank you, Carl. But I'm not sure how you do it in practice. I think we should go to them and say, okay, you say you're no longer the bad guys, prove it and figure out ways of proving it, in terms of making sure that, thank you, Carl, Liv, Crazy, Marsha, lots of gifts today. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Marsha, making sure women remain free, making sure women remain able to work, women remain able to go to school, like none of the Taliban shit, right? Make sure that women don't have to cover their faces. If they want to, they can, right? Religious freedom, but they don't have to. That kind of thing, and we could tie it to you. Now, here's the part of the problem for the U.S. We really should get that military base. I mean, that naval base, that Russian naval base, we need to make sure Russia loses that naval base. We need to make sure either we get it, the French get it, the Brits get it, but that Russia loses that naval base in Syria. Biden gets that. I'm not sure if Trump gets it because, again, Trump, right? Is Trump going to be thinking, I need to really screw it to the Russians, right? Trump's going to be like on his knees going, please, Mr. Putin, how can I please you today, right? Trump's going to be going, oh, if we get the naval base, Putin's going to be angry. I don't want to make Putin angry for whatever really weird reason Trump has for always sucking up to Putin. So I worry whether Trump will be smart enough, not smart enough, but will have what it takes to try to take that naval base away from the Russians, because Trump doesn't like to anger the Russians, Anyway, will America protect the Kurds? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I mean, I know we have been protecting the Kurds. Well, here's the problem. Trump, right? I don't know what the hell to expect with Trump. A normal administration taking over, you would say they would be working against the Russians and they would be protecting the Kurds. Trump, who the hell knows? Unless the Kurds buy him a new hotel, right? Who the hell knows? Offer him waterfront property, exactly like Dave just said, right? So let's see. Are the Russian ships and troops there? The Russian ships reportedly had pulled out of the port because they weren't sure what was going on, right? Everything was going to hell. You don't want your boats there, like your ships there with like chaos, right? The troops, at least as of a couple days ago, the Russian troops reportedly got abandoned, thank you, Liv, by the Russians. The Russians fled and left their troops, which was pretty bad. Thank you, Jonathan. So it's not clear right now where things stand in terms of how many Russian troops are still left in Syria. Today they moved, but what moved today, Jean Marquis? So I don't know. Again, it depends on what relationship the Russians have or will have with this new government. We hope it's not a good one. The Russians were the biggest benefactor of their enemy, Assad. So the new guys ought to be really cautious about the Russians, but who knows? How do I feel about how Israel is reacting? We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. I don't like Netanyahu. He overreacts to everything, who's the Israeli prime minister. But Israel literally lives next door to these guys. It's one thing for us to say the guys that just took over Syria used to be terrorists. They used to be tied to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, okay? The worst. We live across the world. We can say, okay, they were Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Now they're saying they're not. let's work with them and we can see if they've really changed. Okay, we live 6,000 miles away or 8,000 miles away, whatever. We can say that. If you're Israel and you literally share a border with these people, you better be a hell of a lot more careful about whether or not you now share a border with an Islamist state, with Taliban type terrorists, right? I mean, so if you're Israel, you unfortunately have to be way more cautious, which is why they're going after the chemical weapons, which is why they're going after, I believe they sank much, if not all, of the Syrian fleet overnight, because they don't want to deal with this shit, which is understandable. Having said that, it's Netanyahu in Syria. Could he go too far? Could he be looking and going, hey, this is a great opportunity. I could just go and blow everything, blow up all their military. He may be thinking that way too. Or he may be thinking, one would hope more, this is very dangerous having these guys on our border, and we have to basically get rid of their military just in case they haven't reformed. So, no. So I understand what the Israelis are doing in that, as far as blowing up the weapons. Yeah. It makes sense. You're on the border. Noah says, with Western superiority in the Middle East, HTS would be stupid not to align with the U.S. with the unstable situation in Syria and the Middle East abroad. You'd think it all depends what the Russians offer them. Maybe the Russians are willing to offer more money, more weapons, better weapons. I don't know, right? I mean, why didn't Israel bomb the escaping Russian fleet? That would have been fun, but that, Israel doesn't need to be at war with Russia. Thanks, Joe Marquis. So yeah, I mean, I understand why they didn't bomb the Russians. Do you think there's going to be a ceasefire before the end of the year in Ukraine? No. I don't think there's going to be a ceasefire. I don't know how it's going to progress. I don't know how it's going to progress with Ukraine, because we know Trump wants a ceasefire and wants peace at all costs. Biden, whatever, Biden's on his way out. Zelensky, I was going to tell you a story. Zelensky's kind of had it with Biden. I think this was very interesting. Listen to this. Very smart of Zelensky. Zelensky was in Paris the last couple of days. They had the big reopening of Notre Dame, the cathedral in Paris that burned down 5 years ago, or burned significantly 5 years ago. Thank you, Marcia. And Zelensky was invited to Paris as well. He met at Notre Dame, but also privately with President Macron of France and Trump. Macron organized it, which was very smart. This was meant to be a little bit of a lobbying campaign of Trump, right, by Macron and Zelensky, which was actually very smart. Zelensky said the following. I told President Trump that Putin fears only him and perhaps China, Zelensky said today on Twitter. Okay, let me read this again. I told Trump that Putin fears only him and perhaps China. First of all, he's pandering to Trump. He's buttering Trump up. Always a good idea. Who's missing from that? Every world leader other than the Chinese and Trump. Joe Biden is missing from that sentence. Zelensky's saying Putin doesn't fear Joe Biden, right? Or frankly, the French or the Germans or anybody else. Zelensky's not wrong. But it's interesting that Zelensky said that. The Ukrainians have pretty much moved on at this point. I mean, there's only 5 weeks to go anyway, but they've pretty much moved on, and they're putting their eggs in Trump's basket. Now, they don't have a choice because Trump is running the show in many ways, right? I mean, the U.S. is the 800-pound gorilla. I just thought it was very interesting that he was saying that, just very interesting. Yep, or Zelensky buttering up the future king. Yeah, no, very much so. But it's also interesting, like I said, that he left Biden out of it. I thought was interesting. Let's go on with the rest of the Ukraine news. Russia may have transferred MiG-29 and Su-27 fighter jets to North Korea in exchange for North Korean soldiers. That was the news today from U.S. Indo-Pacific commander. Yes, this is my mug, Jean Marquis, that Callum got me from Scotland. It's a Scotland Starbucks mug. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Callum, I should say. Or thank you, Dana, for the gift. Thank you, Callum, for the mug. I'm liking the Christmas thing. Like I'm noticing on YouTube. I really like the whole Christmas decor thing. Too bad for my show I can't do this for the rest of the year. You guys, well, it's a little different on TikTok. See, I could do that. But on YouTube, on YouTube, it's a nice wider span. So on YouTube, you go from that figure with the hat there all the way to my Christmas tree. It's a nice, it's a very nice, pretty Christmas scene. I kind of like it anyway. All right, let's keep going here. German Chancellor. Oh, so this was interesting. So the German Chancellor candidate, the guy who's running for Chancellor of Germany, Chancellor of Germany is the head of Germany, in February. There's the guy in charge now, Scholz, who we love and hate both. He's kind of like Biden. He does a lot for Ukraine and then he craps on them. It's kind of both, you know. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. The guy who's running against Scholz, who, according to the polls, may very well win, said today that he will closely coordinate the delivery of Taurus missiles to Ukraine with the U.S. and European partners. We have been wanting for a while for Germany to give Ukraine cruise missiles. Germany has Taurus cruise missiles. They're very good. Scholz has said no. Doesn't want to upset the Russians, right? Thank you, Sky. The new guy, but this is what gets weird, though. The new guy has been talking as though he would give Ukraine these cruise missiles. But listen to this. According to Mertz, training the Ukrainian personnel for these missiles would take at least 4 months and would not be completed before U.S. President-elect Trump takes office. Quote, and that is why I advocate answering these questions together with the Americans, not alone, not in Germany, but together with Europe and America. That scares me a little, okay? I mean, at first he's talking about getting the weapons. Thank you, Sky, for the gift on TikTok, for getting the weapons to the Ukrainians, the cruise missiles. Then he says we need to coordinate with the Americans. Well, Trump isn't going to want him to give cruise missiles to Ukraine. I mean, Trump wants him to basically give, you know, Vladimir Putin a big raspberry or whatever the hell it's called, right? I mean, he doesn't want him to, Trump doesn't want him giving weapons. So that actually concerns me a little, that he's talking about, you know, talking to the Americans first before he gives the cruise missiles to Ukraine, because if he talks to the Americans, he's not giving Ukraine the cruise missiles at all. Thank you, Marsha. Polling from Europe. This was from the Kyiv Independent. I'll just read this to you. Some 45% of Ukrainians trust U.S. President Donald Trump, around 10 points fewer than Joe Biden, a survey by New Europe Center found. In comparison, researchers cite a separate June poll from Pew that showed among the surveyed European countries, Trump enjoyed the highest trust in Hungary, 37%. Actually, that's kind of funny. Trump had the most trust in Hungary, but it was only 37%. That's actually, it just hit me. That's horrible. That's actually horrible. I mean, first of all, the highest level of trust for Trump in Europe is Hungary. Okay, understandable, because Hungary is like Satan now. You know, they're like the new pro-European, pro-Putin, but it's only 37%. Thank you, Jorge. Only 37% support for Trump in Hungary. I'm very surprised, because the Hungarian wannabe dictator is super pro-Trump. That's very interesting. In France, Trump was trusted by only 16% of the population, and in the UK, 30%. I'm a little surprised in the UK. The survey showed that while Biden was the most trusted Western leader in 2023 at 82%, the figure dropped to 55% this year. That's interesting. So in Europe, he dropped from 82 to 55 this year. That's very interesting. German Chancellor Scholz went from 61% to 36%. Oops. French President Macron, interestingly, saw a modest drop from 54 to 50. Oh, wait. So modest growth in trust. Oh, that's interesting. Macron grew from 54% to 58%. That's actually very interesting, considering in France, he's a little bit embattled now. But in Europe, they like him. That's very interesting. There's a report today that Russian soldiers are increasingly sabotaging their own boats. The Russians have been making more and more attacks in the town and region of Kherson in southern Ukraine. We talked about this the other day. The Russians have been flying drones and killing civilians in that town. They're basically, the Russian military is practicing their maneuvers with their drones by attacking and killing civilians. They're literally chasing civilian Ukrainians with these drones and killing them. But one of the things they're doing too is they're taking boats and kind of coming across the river and trying to attack. And there are reports that a lot of the Russian troops are actually sabotaging their own boats because they don't want to fight, which is Obviously, good news. Oh, this I thought was interesting. So this was interesting. Listen to this. Thank you, Daniel. So I saw this report today. Something that, you may hear about initially and go, whatever, but listen to this. The Republicans have picked the new chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. So it's the committee in the U.S. House of Representatives that is in charge of foreign policy. And they picked a new guy named Brian Mast, who's this conservative Republican. Now, in general, people would say, okay, whatever, right? They're going to pick some conservative guy to run it. Gets a little more interesting than that. And I take you back to the election, where people were saying, remember people were saying in the election, oh, if you care about Gaza, it doesn't matter who you elect. The Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans, right? Remember that bullshit? And I was saying, careful what you wish for, right? F-A-F-O, F around, find out. Thank you, Daniel. Let me tell you who the new incoming chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee is. Oh, and dare I mention, the reason he's getting the job is because Trump personally called the other members of the committee and told them to give him the job. He's a junior guy in the committee. He would never get this job. He would not get the chair of the committee. He's now in charge of basically foreign policy for the United States House of Representatives. Okay? Let me tell you a little bit about his views on Gaza. Hang on a sec here. Mast has compared Palestinians to Nazis. He says Palestinian babies being killed are not innocent. Babies, guys, babies are not innocent, and says even more Palestinian infrastructure in Gaza should be destroyed. Congratulations, everybody. Not you. Most of you guys are normal. But, there's a special place in hell, and there really is every election, for people who sit there and go, either both sides are the same, or I'm angry at you, and I don't care if the other guy is so I'm not going to vote for you because I'm angry at you. Special place in hell for those people. Because what they did, they just elected a crazy person, frankly, to be in the White House, but also to now be in charge of foreign policy in the House of Representatives. The number one guy for foreign policy for Republicans in the U.S. House is so anti-Palestinian, it's not even funny. And by the way, it's not like we didn't all predict this. Thank you, PPF. Trump's the same way. Trump's the same, but especially babies, especially though, right? There are no innocent babies. Are you insane? Every baby is innocent. Palestinian babies are innocent. Jewish, Israeli babies are innocent. They're all innocent. Russian babies are innocent, by the way, right? There are no babies that are not innocent. That's absolutely insane. You have to be a special kind of ass to say that babies are not innocent. Babies that are being killed. Let's put a finer point on it. Thank you, PPF. He was talking about babies who are being killed and said they're not innocent. That's just a special kind of evil. Thank you, Christina. But you know what? Again, F around, find out. Elections are important. Elections matter. And unfortunately, the far left of the Democratic Party and decided they were going to play games. They don't like the Democrats. They like to screw the Democrats. And they convinced the Arab community in this country to do that. And frankly, and again, the Arab community got snookered by these guys entirely. This is the far left of the party. It's the socialist wing. I can tell you who they are. It's like Justice Dems. It's all the far left socialists who hate Democrats. And they've said from the beginning they want to destroy the Democratic Party, and they saw their opportunity. This is like Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon, used to like her. She's helped on a lot of liberal causes, but she had said years ago that she wanted Trump to win because she believes in like this whole, like not the dialectic. What do they call it in Marxism? When like, you need a more oppressive government to come in because the more oppressive government will oppress the people, and then the people will fight back and it'll cause the great revolution to happen. That you need oppression to cause the revolution that will bring in, the socialist utopia or whatever. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. It just blows my mind. Finally, Donald Trump today decided to make fun of Canada and the Prime Minister of Canada. He recently met with Trudeau. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. Thank you, real life. Trump recently met with, thank you, Christina, as well, met with Justin Trudeau, who went down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Trump once Trump won. Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada. Trump has talked about putting like horrific, duties, taxes on imports from Canada, which is going to destroy the Canadian economy, but it's also going to destroy our economy. Oh! Trump admitted yesterday that his tariffs very well may cause rampant inflation. He admitted it. He said, yeah, it might. I can't promise it won't. He was asked about it. Are prices going to go up in America because of your tariffs? He said, can't promise it won't. Congratulations, everybody who voted for Trump. You just voted for inflation. You voted against Biden because of inflation, and you voted for the guy who promised more inflation. Congratulations. Congratulations. So here's what Trump tweeted today about Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, the leader of Canada. Listen to this, okay? It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with the governor, Justin Trudeau, of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. Trump has now joked repeatedly that he's going to buy Canada, that Canada is so weak, that if Canada is so weak that it can't handle tariffs, then it should just become a U.S. state. So now he calls them the state of Canada and calls the Canadian leader the governor, because he's an ass and he's rude. And I mean, what a freaking surprise. You know, I just, it's, again, people like, and this is what people like. People like this kind of stuff, you know? And Republicans, of course, think it's hilarious, right? Oh, our best friends in the world were mocking and making fun of and making them hate us. And again, this is classic Trump, right? He wants our enemies to love him and he wants our friends to hate him. He hates our friends and he loves the enemies. This is classic. This is classic. Anyway, that's it for that. Really sick. Really sick. He just so annoys me. So annoys me. Anyway, so that's it for the news today. Let's hang and chat. My back is feeling better. I still think I'm still going to slouch a little bit just to feel better here. Lower my camera. Here we go. Oh, there we go. My back is feeling pretty good, but I figure why play with it? So this way I'm going to let it calm down a little bit. It wasn't terrible though. I wasn't able to sit like that the last couple of weeks, so this is better. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? My back, I got a pinched nerve. It just happened on its own. Getting old, spine, stenosis, arthritis, spine, pinches a nerve. Nobody knows why. So I had to get an injection of steroids in my back on Friday, which has helped. It has not helped enough, but it has helped, which is still very good. But it only hurts in certain positions, which is funny. So it does feel better since I've gotten the thank you, Florian, for the gift, since I've gotten the steroid injection. So who knows? Maybe I'll be lucky it'll keep up. So I don't think a massage will do it, Marie, though. It's the spine. I'm most afraid of getting a massage. Oh, yeah. So that's true, PC Noel. We didn't talk about the final little topic. Thank you, Mikey. So the shooter, right? The insurance shooter. I'm assuming everybody's aware of this story at this point. Several days ago in New York City, we had a young guy who opened fire and killed a CEO of one of America's largest, if not the largest, insurance company, United Healthcare. Hunted him on the street, killed him outside a hotel, point blank range, pretty much point blank. He was a couple feet away. Nationwide manhunt. They find a guy today. The guy, was it today? I'm already forgetting my news. Was it today? I'm already forgetting now. Today or yesterday? I don't even remember. Was it yesterday or today? Yesterday, maybe? They catch the guy. I should say they catch a guy, we'll be fair. The guy they catch has a gun in his bag, has a silencer, which they now call, what do they call a silencer now? I'm forgetting. It's not a pacifier. What do they call it? There's a word that the experts use for silencers now, which this guy had. He's got fake IDs, a suppressor. Thank you, Mr. Autumn. Supposedly one of the IDs may have been the ID used at the hostel. Interesting question Gunther raised about the eyebrows, which he's not wrong. In the pictures now with the guy arrested, he's got almost a unibrow. He's Italian. And in the pictures from last week, he does not look like he has a unibrow. It does look different. Having said that, the guy went nuts today. He had a lot of weird stuff with him. He had like a 2-page manifesto. Excuse me. The police say he had a 2-page manifesto. You can't always trust the police. What I mean is you need to sort of see what he had before. I am not a conspiracy guy at all, but I will say when the police say it's a manifesto, that doesn't mean it's a manifesto, right? One thing that did not bode well for this guy is he goes to court today. The New York state is trying to extradite him from Pennsylvania. He's in Pennsylvania. New York wants him because the crime was in New York. He goes to court to argue against it. And as he's being taken from the police car to the court, he starts fighting the police and yelling and screaming at the cameras. And I'm forgetting again, what was the quote? Something about fooling the American people or something. It was only like 8 words. If anybody remembers the exact words, it was not his best moment. It was, literally, he broke away from the police and started screaming. It is an insult to the American intelligence. He's screaming. Thank you, Hellroth. I got to tell you, if he were innocent, I do not think, if you were innocent and you were grabbed for this crime, you would be crapping your pants. You would be not breaking away from the police screaming about, this is an insult to the American intelligence. That's what a crazy person yells. It's not what an innocent person does. Innocent people flip out when they would be crying. You'd be crying and going, oh my God, please, I didn't do this. Somebody help me, please, right? That's what you'd be doing. If you were innocent, you would literally be crying to the camera going, please, you've got to help me. I didn't do this. You wouldn't be screaming and fighting the police. This is an insult to the American intelligence. Honestly, he sounded like a crazy person. Let's see if he's the guy. If the police are telling the truth, they pretty much have all the evidence in the bag, but let's see. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. The whole thing is pretty weird. Gunther, he couldn't have said that much. They didn't get that much of it. Yeah, they couldn't have gotten that much of the sentence. Gunther has a longer sentence, but I don't think they've got that much of the sentence. The manifesto is, the only thing is the manifesto, was that a manifesto of his online or the one that was in his bag? I doubt the one in his bag got published. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Exactly. They need to find the evidence first. If he's the guy, it comes across like he's a crazy person and he lost his mind. Not just that he has back pain. It comes across like he lost his mind. But we don't know. A manifesto, that's a good question. What is a manifesto? A manifesto would be, well, that's a good, I'm not sure how, we may have to Google this to get you a good definition. A manifesto is like my overarching theory and premise and working justification for what I'm doing. So like if I were this guy and I did what he did, my manifesto would be my multi-page explanation of my beliefs, why I did this and why society is screwed and why, America is falling down and only we must do what I'm trying to be careful of my words because TikTok gets upset the mods. I must do more of what I just did in New York in order to stop the big capitalist companies because capitalism has done this in society. It's right. It's not just your plan. It's your idea. It's your theory. It's your mega plan, but it's also the theory and all the crazy philosophy underlying it is your manifesto. What's the Google definition, Alec? Manifesto means a public declaration of policy and aims, especially one issued before an election by a political party or candidate. So for a person, your manifesto is often a crazy statement that goes on for several pages, and it's your idea, it's your crazy ideology underlying why you committed the crime. And it usually has some, like I said, overarching societal, we are evil, we must be stopped, and it's this kind of very heavy, big, a little crazy stuff. But we don't know. We'd have to see it first. I will say this. I tend to, I don't want to say I trust the police. I don't distrust the police. I'm not skeptical of police necessarily. But when police say it was a manifesto, I want to see the damn thing. Now, some people are saying it's public. Was this manifesto supposedly in his bag, or was it online? That's what I'm not quite remembering. It's public, so it wasn't necessarily in his bag. Okay. I mean, he clearly was very smart. I have not read a lot of his stuff. He was clearly very intelligent, or is clearly very intelligent. I don't know. I mean, now the other thing is, and this is still kind of blowing my mind. I am no fan of insurance companies. I think they are kind of evil. I do not understand the support for this kid. I really don't. And it's been on the left and right both. I did a TikTok video and 95% of people were supporting the kid. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm kind of outraged by the shooting. I really am. I think it's gross. I think stalking this guy is gross. And I'm kind of blown away, though, as to how many people are seemingly okay with. Now, it's one thing to say, I get why people are angry at insurance companies, and I could get why somebody could go too far, maybe, but too many people, I feel like, are saying it's basically okay what the kid did, is what I feel like they're saying. I guess what I'd almost want to ask people is, now I don't know whether people here want to admit it or not, but for the people who are defending the kid, would you convict him, or would you find him innocent? I guess that's my real question. Whether people are just angry and saying, yeah, I get where he's coming from, but would you find him innocent of murdering this guy? That's what's worrying me. I guess what worries me too is not just on this. I think we are seeing something that reminds me of Trump, and it reminds me of MAGA. It reminds me of the violence on the MAGA side. And, a lot of us liked to say that the kind of violence that Trump talks about all the time, and frankly, the violence that he caused on January 6th, when he tried to violently overthrow the government, that's Trump. That's MAGA. It's now becoming Republican, but that's them. That's not us, right? That's not independents. It's not Democrats. It's not normal Republicans. I see people talking here, and I almost get the sense that people are defending that kind of MAGA style violence. And that's what scares me. It feels like we're crossing another Rubicon, but another like threshold or something. Thank you, Super Hornet. You know what I mean? Like we're taking a step too far that we may not be able to step. It's Kyle Rittenhouse. Actually, yes, K, in some ways, it's the Kyle Rittenhouse effect. Actually, it's the Kyle Rittenhouse defense, right? Right? That you're kind of, and here's the thing too. I also think it's very interesting that this happened at the same time that the guy in New York went free. I actually support the guy in New York going free. So like, I admit I've got like nuanced views on these things. What happened in New York was, this is a long, again, anybody who has been following the news, but homeless guy went crazy on the subway, threatening to kill everybody, and said, I'm going to kill you. I don't care if I get killed. I forget the exact quote. I don't care if I get killed, but basically said he was going to kill people like right then on the subway. And he got tackled by somebody, and another guy jumped in to hold him down. And while he was holding him down, whether it cut off his air or he died later, I'm getting a little bit of a mixed story today when I read about it. But they tried to try the guy who held him down. They tried to try him for murder, and the jury found him not guilty. And I'm actually sympathetic to that. But that's because his goal wasn't to kill the guy, A, and B, the guy literally said, I'm going to kill you, to people on the subway. And I don't care how crazy you are. If you're in a small room threatening to kill people, you forfeited yourself. You forfeited yourself. That is not what happened on the streets of New York. Even the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, that's not what happened, right? He wasn't standing there with a guy ready to kill him and he killed the guy first. That's not what happened, you know? But it's interesting nonetheless. I think it's very interesting that these stories happened at the same time. I don't think they're related, but it's still kind of interesting because you've got people being killed, and are you innocent? Are you guilty? You know, it's very interesting. You know, intent is very important. Intent is all important. Yes, yes. And actually, that's right, Joshua. Blue Cross Blue Shield changed their anesthesia policy the other day. Just 2 days ago, 3 days ago, we heard that, was it Blue Cross Blue Shield of Connecticut, New York, and maybe Missouri changed this. Listen, anybody who's not from America, listen to this story. One of the main insurance companies in America changed their policy on anesthesia. They said basically too many doctors were abusing anesthesia, and that they were no longer going to like have it unlimited during surgeries. They were only going to let you use anesthesia. Thank you, Chazak. They were only gonna pay for your anesthesia for a certain number of hours during the surgery. And if your surgery, was it Anthem? Okay, if your surgery went too long, they were gonna not pay for your anesthesia, so that like halfway through your anesthesia, it would be like a parking meter, like your meter ran out, and you can no longer. Right, you wake up and they go, "Oh, sorry, surgery's over. We're not paying for anesthesia." I mean, and there was such an outcry that they backed off. Now, I'm almost trying to forget, was that right before the shooting? I think that was right before. I think that was maybe the day before the shooting, because that just happened too, right? The U.S. healthcare sector is nuts. Correct, Michael or Mikiel. It was the day before the shooting. Wow. I don't think it was after. Maybe it was after. I thought it was right before. Yeah. Or day of, but it was right around the same time. Anyway, thank you, user 336. Here's the other thing too. So far, I'm not feeling sympathy for this kid, right? It's not like an insurance company killed his mother who was dying and they refused to help, right? Where I would be more I might be more sympathetic, right? So far, I mean, we're hearing he had back pain. Okay, maybe, but we're not hearing. I'm not hearing a manifesto about the back pain being unlivable. And literally, for example, I'm not hearing him say, he was going to kill himself because the pain was so bad, and he was going to take the insurance exec with him. Right? You hear that, and you start to. That's a different level of argument where you go, okay, this kid was clearly at wit's end, right at the end of his rope. I'm gonna have to read it. I'm gonna have to read the manifesto thing. I'll have to read the manifesto. This is a bad take. Well, or you disagree with me, blonde berserker, and this is a free country. Feel free to give your point of view. Don't give bullshit arguments like this is a bad take. It's not a bad take because somebody disagrees with you. So far, Donald Trump, this is Donald Trump's America almost, but we're still a free country. We're allowed to disagree with people. Don't be assholes. Seriously. That's the one thing I draw the line at is people being assholes. Mods, anybody wants to be an asshole? Kick them out. Kick them out. Disagree all you want. I want to have a discussion about this stuff, but don't be a dick. No, if you're going to be a dick, you're gone. You are gone so fast, it's going to make your head spin. What else? Because otherwise I'm not going to, this is like the Israel stuff. I stopped talking about Israel because people couldn't behave like adults. We don't talk about it anymore. I won't talk about Gaza anymore on the show because people couldn't behave like adults. Or in the comments, all the Palestinian types wanted to steal the Palestinian defenders decided to steal all the conversations about Syria. They went in the comments and stole all the conversations about Syria. I had to ban them all. So now you can't talk about Gaza in the comments anymore. Congratulations. Right? I mean, this is, I did not sell America blog. I'd consider selling it though. But people need to be mature. I did see about the Hochtoa girl. Yeah, she could be in some legal trouble. She could be in some real trouble, that girl. Yeah. Exactly. Like, then again, I am arguing with people who think it's okay to shoot someone you disagree with. So, maybe we can't disagree without fighting, Mr. Rager. That girl that was although what was it? She did an interview and talked about how to give a blowjob or something and demonstrated or something. Like it was really gross. And she became famous. Thank you, aviation. She just did her own cryptocurrency, and someone looks like they may have cheated people out of a lot of money. Not yet, K9, a lot of money. Whether she was complicit or not, who knows? But it was in crypto, it's called a rug pull. Not good. Where you basically pump a cryptocurrency that you're doing, and as soon as a lot of people pump and dump, exactly, a lot of people buy it, and then you immediately sell. So you make a lot of money, and as you sell, it goes bankrupt, so to speak. It's just like, that's it. Yeah, pump and dump, basically. Yeah. Whether now again, who knows if she knew? Who knows if it was somebody she was working with? I also don't know whether it's legal or not. I have no idea whether that stuff is legal. It's scummy, but is it legal? I don't know. Well, I'm not going to say if you're investing in that, Triff. No, because you know what? You shouldn't be able to steal money from people. You shouldn't be able to shoot somebody dead if they run an insurance company, and you shouldn't be able to steal money from people just because they invest in crypto. No, right? No. That's what I'm saying. We need to have some kind of basic standards here. Some crypto is legitimate. It is actually, yes, correct. I'm actually into crypto. There is some that's legitimate, but it also doesn't matter. We do not live in a society where we think it's okay to cheat and steal and kill because we don't like the other people, right? That's because then someone's going to do it to you and to your loved ones, because they're going to say, well, you know what? Yeah, you don't like insurance companies. Okay, great. How about the doctors? How about doctors that do bad diagnoses? Should you go after them? Right? How about car companies that are making you pay, or student loans? Should you be able to go after your student loan companies? Right? You think they're cheating you? I mean, right? Where do you draw the line here? I mean, Republicans. How about Democrats or Republicans? Right? Republicans. I mean, if I'm on the left, Republicans do a lot of bad things, right? I mean, right? Does that mean you should be able to go after them? No, right? I mean, that's my problem with this whole line of argument is you think the other guy is killing people, is hurting people. So you think it's okay to kill them. I think that's horrible, because I think anybody can use that argument in politics about anybody else if they want, right? Donald Trump's talking about, the Republicans are talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare. That means, and people will get hurt. Some people might even die as a result. That means you can hurt them? No. No, right? That's the problem I have with all of this. I feel like it's not just scary where it goes. I think there's a coarsening. Thank you, Jamie. There is a coarsening to all of this that scares me. I think people have gotten too angry that they think this is okay, and it worries me. Well, copycat, that'll be what happens next, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. TikTok got upset and thought the conversation was too adult. It's restricting it away from minors now. I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, what else? Well, class consciousness? I don't think so. It's mass murder consciousness, quite literally. If you adopt a policy of just murdering people you disagree with, I got news for you. You're going to have like Bosnia. It is not class consciousness. You're going to have mass murder. We've already got mass murders in this country. You're going to have people opening fire and killing each other. That is not the solution. And maybe because I'm in politics, thank you, Louisa. Thank you, Julian. I also think politically, which is even if you're I'm not sympathetic, but even if you're sympathetic to this argument, is this what you want people doing so that more people start doing it? And as I said, the next person who does it is going to be a Republican who says Democrats are supporting socialism and socialism is bad and socialism kills people. Therefore, I can do this to Democrats, right? That's insane. But that is the argument. Billionaires, right? Billionaires hurt people. Can you go after them? Right? Republicans in Congress are going to cut Medicare and Social Security, they say, and Obamacare. That's going to hurt people. Are you allowed to go after them? I would hope not. But this line of argument would be yes. And I think that's very dangerous and scary. You know? I mean, that's the problem is a lot, and maybe because I went to law school too, a lot of the argument you have to look at with this stuff is not just does it feel good in this one instance. It's what example are you not even what example, what precedent are you setting for other people to do this next? That's the problem. Is are we going to have a country where everyone's got a gun and everyone uses it against everyone else they think has offended them or hurt them? You know, typically that's the kind of thing supposedly we don't like, but who knows? You know? Anyway, very scary, very scary. What else? Keep the gifts coming, guys. And I appreciate them. Well, I'm oversimplifying. Well, give me more. Don't give me buzzword. Don't give me your answer is oversimplifying. Saying you're oversimplifying is like the most oversimplified answer you could ever give someone. Give me an argument. Don't give me pablum. Give me an actual argument. A good poem about all this? That's good, Julian. That would be funny. Or good. Maybe not funny, but interesting. But it is mob rule. It is mob rule, right? This time you think you're right. Okay. And when the next guy decides you're the one who's hurting people, is he right? Okay. You know? I mean, Republicans think Democratic politicians hurt people. So does that mean they can do this next to AOC or somebody else? Right? Right? I agree with PC Noel. You can't just kill someone you disagree with. That is correct. That is correct. Okay, really fucked up. Really fucked up. Yeah. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? Seriously, a lot of you are going to be muted now. Mods, anybody even vaguely arguing for violence gets muted because that shit doesn't fly. Like, that shit does not fly. You will get banned from TikTok in a nanosecond for doing that. You really do not want to be writing those kind of things. Thank you, Wanderings. You also could get investigated by the Secret Service for that matter too, but you really don't want to be writing that stuff. Thank you, Wheelchair Cat. Let's all sing. That's a good idea. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. The Dancing Bear was pretty good. Actually, the Dancing Bear was kind of a nice segue. It was kind of like, okay, it's time for Dancing Bear. Let's get away from the serious stuff. La, 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 la. All right, enough of the serious stuff. Anyway, so that's the news today. We have shooter guy. We've got Syria. We've got Ukraine. Korea, no news on Korea. The president is basically banned from leaving the country. Actually, I was reading a crazy story about Korea today. I'm not sure if it's true or not. But something about the defense minister trying to start a war with the North and all sorts of crazy stuff. It was crazy. But I haven't seen it confirmed yet, so I don't want to get into it totally yet. I saw somebody talking about it, but I was like, maybe. The bear was cute, though. Do I think Ukraine will start a new offensive? I don't think Ukraine's got much to do. I don't think Ukraine can do many new offensives. I mean, they can do small new offensives, but they can't do big ones, you know? Ukraine's kind of stuck at this point, unfortunately. You know? Oh, sorry, guys. Yawning at you. What else? So this is Christmas. That's a good song. I don't really like John Lennon, but that is a good song. His music doesn't do it for me. I've always found his music kind of But So This Is Christmas is a good song. Yoko can't sing. That's a whole other story. I will go to Chicago for Christmas for about a week. Correct. How's North Korea doing in Ukraine? We haven't heard, actually. Not in the last few days, at least. What did Taiwan do? I saw something about Taiwan today. What happened with Taiwan today, Frank? What was the Taiwan news? I just saw some mention, but I didn't see the story. Oh. Oh yeah, there is a postal strike in Canada because I've still got somebody's box here that's been sitting here, Richard, because I was going to mail it the other day, and there's a postal strike, so I'm like sitting on somebody's box that I've got to send them, which is too bad. Actually, I'm forgetting what's even in here. It's a good sized box too. It's a very nice sized box. I have to Google again, or not Google. I have to look back and see what Richard's getting, but it's very nice. But yes, there is a postal strike. Don Lemon, I like Don Lemon. Something else happened with him recently, or what? 26 days and counting? You're kidding me. Oh my God. I didn't realize it was that long. Holy shit. Oh my God. Well, this box will be sitting here for a while then. Holy cow. Taiwan has implemented tactics used in Ukraine to help bolster their offenses. And he says, okay. I assume it's a government strike. Noah's asking government or private. I assume government because I doubt there's private post in Canada, right? I don't know if I'm going to start a new auction yet, because the problem is I leave town next Thursday. So I didn't want to start a new auction and then have to fill it too quick. Like, you know what I mean? Like it can sometimes be a little rushed to get it filled. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll skip it. And also, I don't think we have time before Christmas anyway. I'm just going to Chicago for a week. But that's why I didn't put up new auction stuff. I thought, you know what? It's going to be too hard to get it out. You got a tree today? Nice. Nice. Does Sasha have presents under the tree? No, she would destroy them because, of course, Sasha's presents would be food. She's already, I don't think you can tell on YouTube. I don't even try to fix the bottom of the tree now because every day Sasha goes underneath my tree and pulls at the, what do you call the matting underneath the tree? I've got like the red, as I pitch you guys over here on TikTok, hang on, the red skirt under the tree. She digs it every day to make a bed out of it. And I just gave up at this point, the tree skirt. So I just give up at this point. So you may not be able to tell on YouTube, but it's an absolute, I've got like a couple of buildings and Mary and Jesus, they're all upside down. Mary and Jesus are now laying sideways. I don't care anymore. She knocked, well, no. Joseph may still be around. Mary's knocked down. Jesus is lying sideways. One of the buildings is knocked down. I'm like, all right, I give up. Anyway, we believe that Assad did go to Moscow. I think he went. I don't think he died. I think they'd tell us if he died. There's no reason to pretend he's alive. I own Camille. Oh, I do own. What are the chances that Syria ends up with an Iranian-style theocracy? There's always a chance. I mean, so far, things look good-ish. But because, again, the guys are being good so far. You know, I know Sasha toppled the mother of God. Exactly. That'd be a good poem. Assad's prisons. I've seen the prison videos today. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. When your grandson was little, he added dinosaurs to the family nativity scene. That would actually be very cute. That would be very cute because it's like, oh, it's mommy's toys or grandma's toys. That's really cute. I like that. Oh, the cat thing. So like, yeah, I don't even like these videos of cats and Christmas trees. I don't think I fully appreciated how evil cats were about Christmas trees. How can you even have a Christmas tree if you have a cat? They apparently just take them down. I mean, like, do cats like climbing in trees that much? No, these videos are hilarious. It's just they're a disaster. I didn't know they were that bad. That's at least for the pictures I've seen. Your tree is good with 5 cats. Wow, I'm surprised. Tie yours to the wall. There you go. Yes, but it's tough. 6 cats and 2 trees. So it depends on the house. Interesting. They play with the ornaments, but they don't climb it. I was going to say, because I've seen a lot of them climbing. It's so funny. Pet stores have Christmas trees with cat baskets. So that's interesting. Although tying it down somehow would probably be a good idea as well. The younger the cat, the worse. Prexis is saying, it looks like the Union and Canada Post are still far apart on negotiations from what I last saw. So you may be stuck with, oh, you're the one. It's Prexis. Yeah. I know like real names and can't remember whose. That's why it's the big box, because it's the military helmet. Yeah. I don't mind. It's literally under my desk. I just feel bad because I look at it occasionally and go, oh shit. Like I thought I forgot it forever. And I was like, oh, that's right. Okay. So it'll just sit here longer. It's boxed up and ready to go. But yeah, crazy. Wow. You have 5? Wow. Wow. Trees you hang from the ceiling. Oh God. Oh, that's funny though. Yeah, no, oh no, that's not true, is it? Kimberly Guilfoyle is the new ambassador to Greece. Tell me it's not true. Tell me it's not true. She broke up with Don Jr. Did you see those reports? He's dating some new. Oh, that's interesting because he's dating some new woman. Oh my. That's interesting. So as a consolation, they gave her ambassador to Greece? Wow. I don't think she's going to like Greece. That's going to be funny. Oh boy. Greece. That woman is in for a real surprise. Oh boy. The Greeks do not tolerate fools. This should be interesting. Very interesting. We hope Russia just lost a large naval base because of Syria. They are probably going to try to negotiate with the new guys and keep it. But, we hope they lost it. Yes. Fox News. Yes, there's a whole story. The Fox News story is fascinating. I don't know if they have new owners per se, but Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News and lots of right-wing news outlets, his kids will inherit his, everything, including Fox News and all the British, Australia papers, whatever. They will inherit it when he dies. He has an irrevocable trust. Irrevocable trusts are irrevocable. You can't change them. He did have a provision in the trust that said he was allowed to change it for the benefit of all the trustees. And now Murdoch and his son, the one conservative son, are afraid that the other kids are going to take Fox News and make it less foxy, makes it less right-wing. So they're trying to change the trust so that they can give Fox News just to the one conservative son and not the other kids getting it. And the judge struck them down and said, bullshit, you've got an irrevocable trust. Well, they tried to argue, well, the trust says Murdoch can change the trust if it's for the benefit of all the children. And he says, if they make Fox News liberal or moderate, it'll ruin Fox News and that'll ruin the money for the children. So I'm going to take it away from them and give it to the other son so he keeps it conservative, which benefits them financially. It was like, dude, good luck winning that one in court. So very interesting, very interesting. But that's what's up with Fox News. Yeah. Good night, Colin. It's very interesting. But he just lost that in court, but we'll see when it goes to the next level. Ambassadors are supposed to pay their own way? I don't think so. What do you mean pay their own way? What does that mean? Not their flight. That would be ridiculous. I don't know, but that would seem ridiculous to me. It's very much like Succession. I still have to watch the last year of Succession. I never watched it because I don't get HBO anymore. I'll have to buy it or something. Yeah, the government should pay all the way, of course. Yeah, bub, exactly. How to become an ambassador. First, become the mistress of the president's son, who's a mess. Next. I know, sorry, Aaron, I'm tired. I'm always tired, Sorry. I'm going to yawn again. Sorry. I'm yawning again. Sorry. What else, guys? $9.99 a month for 6 months. That's not bad. I would have done that just to catch up with Succession. I would have done that. Yeah, but I don't want to drink a coffee at this hour. I could, but then like later at night, it's like, thank you, Ash. So that's 99 cents a month I would have done, as long as you remember to turn it off later, right? Yeah, I couldn't care less about the United Nations. Yes, Syria. I mean, honestly, Israel was smart to bomb the Syrian warships. They were really smart. A possible terrorist group is taking over the country right next to you. You do what you can to make them as weak as possible. So yeah. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Randy. I mean, I have all of that. I have educational training, degree, and government experience, Suzanne. Yes. I worked in the United States Senate. I have a law degree from Georgetown and a master's in foreign service from Georgetown as well. I've also worked at the United Nations. I've done a lot of government consulting around the world, lots of other stuff too. So yes, I do. Glad you asked. So Roddy, who is Roddy? Wheelchair? Roddy? I don't know who that is. Oh, to be an ambassador. I don't have the experience to be an. Oh, well, I haven't slept with any president's married son yet. So I guess I'm not qualified. Sorry, I thought maybe you were a troll going like, do you have any qualifications to be talking about these issues? I get that sometimes. So I thought that's what you meant. Yeah, to be ambassador. Exactly. Yeah. You had to put tinfoil under your tree to stop the cat from going near. It worked though? That's interesting. But you have to do like 6 feet of tinfoil around the tree so the cat couldn't even get close. That's very funny. Yeah, no, like I said, the videos of cats taking down trees are just hilarious. They're insane. And they're all like wrapped up inside the tree upside down. I mean, it's apparently like a joy to them climbing trees. That's right. British ambassador, fluent in the language. Did he? No, because I've heard of him. I know nothing about the man. I didn't even know who he was. I'd heard of him. Like, I kind of knew his full name. I figured he was in rap or something. I know nothing about the guy. So I didn't really care about the story because I don't care, but I don't really I know nothing about the guy. So your dog keeps stealing bulbs off the tree, the red ones. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, she doesn't care about, I'm surprised she doesn't care about the stuff on the tree. She really, though, wants that damn blanket under the tree. Every day I've got to hear when she's like under the tree trying to dig at the blanket and it's not turning into a bed. And then she walks away and it's a disaster. I stopped rearranging stuff. I was like, you know what? Mary and Joseph can be upside down. They'll live. It'll be fine. You haven't even set your tree up yet? See, I set it up early because I want weeks and weeks and weeks of Christmas stuff. It makes me happy. It makes me happy. Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. User 609. So I like having my tree. A long Christmas makes me happy. The bulldog's trying to eat the bottom limbs of the trees. That's funny. I'd even put more lights up. I don't have enough lights up. I'd even put more. Like, I like lights on the wall, like on the ceiling and all that kind of stuff. I never did that. I guess I could have. I could have put lights along the, probably pretty easy along the rim. Although I've got the colored lights, which are still nice up there. But I don't like decorating, but you set yours up at Halloween. That's funny. I don't like decorating, but I like I said, actually, I don't mind decorating either. It's fun. I mean, the Christmas tree takes a lot. That takes a lot of work. Just because, the ornament thing is just very slow. I have lights. I don't have Christmas lights on the balcony. No, I have previously. This year I don't. It's kind of a pain on the balcony a little bit. I like them on the balcony. That's true. I kind of should have this year. There's still time, I guess, ish. But I forgot about that this year. I should have put lights on the balcony because I've got I do have like a timer thing. I have a fake tree because I used to have a real tree and it smelled my entire apartment because they sprayed it with pine scent, which gave me allergies and left needles all over my apartment. And for a month, I felt like I had a tree dying in my apartment and I felt terrible because I grow a lot of plants and I literally felt like great. I've got this dying plant in my apartment that I killed. So I felt bad. I do like I haven't put on my Christmas music yet, actually. I need to tell Siri to do that next. I've not done that yet. I can't tell her right now because YouTube gets upset. TikTok would be okay. YouTube would get upset. Yeah, but it was the fake pine smell too, which I hate. It literally, my entire apartment, I was like, oh my God. But those needles, oh my God, the needles are crazy. So that was not fun either. I used to love a real tree. It was fun to get it and everything else, but I woke up your Siri. Sorry. I don't kill plants at all, but I felt like I had a decapitated plant in my apartment. It was horrible. It was like a dying animal or something. I just felt like it just felt bad. It was weird. Like, 'cause I like plants. I mean, I grow plants. I've got a green thumb. It just felt like a tree was like a plant that we killed and we're keeping alive while it's dying. It just felt bad, very bad. So thank you, Ernie. Did not feel good. So your diner blasted Christmas. I hope so. We're only 2 weeks from Christmas. We're officially 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a day from Christmas. A fortnight, as the Brits would say. My dog does not chew the branches. That is good, at least. The fake trees really are easy. I will say that. I mean, they really are nice. Father Christmas for the Kings. That's cute. An ex-government minister, you get to be ambassador in Australia. That's not so bad. That's better than sleeping with the president's messed up son. Trump is giving. Oh, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So he dumped her. He's like dating somebody else now. Yeah. So Trump is giving her, best hair on TikTok. They ought to have that award, Laura. I'll take it. But yeah. So Trump dumped the girlfriend. Don Jr. dumped the girlfriend. Very interesting. So I made bread today. My bread's actually, I did a tremendous loaf of bread today. It's very simple, but I decided to put a couple eggs in, a little olive oil, and then some truffle oil I've got. I like truffle oil in breads, at least in a heavier bread. You know what I mean? Like not a cheese bread, it wouldn't work. But for like a regular bread, the truffle oil adds a nice kind of oomphiness to it. It's good. I'll show you. It's in a bag right now, but it got a very nice rise too. This was a particularly, well, it's in the bag right now, but it's a particularly good rise on this bread. So that was the side I cut into, but it ended up being, it's a nice loaf. So very excited. So I had a little bit with dinner just to have it with dinner, but basically I make it for breakfast. I typically have toast for breakfast or a croissant or a couple of them. And then I eat a couple. And then when I'm hungry, a couple hours later, I eat more. But it turned out really, there is no recipe. I mean, there's a recipe, but it's bread, Jeffrey. Do you make bread? It's kind of, once you make bread, you realize recipes are a bit of a joke because it's like flour, water. I could put it up. There's not much to it. I just added some eggs just cause. The only thing is then I added egg. The problem is there is no recipe for this because I added eggs, oil, and then I had to add more flour because I added the eggs. So it's like I sort of just did it until it looked the right consistency. But the other thing is I also like to make it no knead, which is nice because you make a wetter recipe and it just kind of kneads itself, for several hours and you put it in the fridge overnight. That one rose particularly well. I'm actually very impressed with that one. That was very good. But I think I may make another Greek bread. We make a bread for Easter and New Year's, although New Year's bread's a little different, but we make an Easter bread. We always made the same bread at Christmas and in Easter. Some Greeks do different, but it's almost like a challah bread, like a Jewish challah. And it's an egg bread, very strong egg, not quite brioche, but a lot of egg, sugar, mastic, which is almost like a vanilla, very good. Was a cinnamon sliced, toasted in the morning. Oh my God! But I was thinking I need to make a little more of that because I need that too. It has not snowed in DC. We've gotten like flurries a couple times, but that's it. But yeah, it's a strong egg taste. Oh, the egg did the lifting? That's interesting. I didn't think of that. Yeah, the 2 eggs could have done the lifting. Yeah. It got a very nice lift today. It doesn't always. It got a very nice lift. Well, you know what I did too? It's a very wet dough, and I finally decided to do what they tell you to, but with wet dough, I don't. With wet dough, I kind of just round it as best I can and put it in the pan. I finally did what they recommended, where with a wet dough, where you put flour on the marble countertop, put the dough, put a lot of flour on top, and then shape it. Because with wet doughs, they're very hard to shape. You know what I mean? So I decided to shape it. I actually was able to shape it. I mean, I put more flour, and by shaping it, it actually did make it rise better. Because wet doughs are impossible to shape. I typically do, but don't really. I get my hands wet and kind of go like this with a wet dough. You know, I'm talking a really wet dough. But I think it actually made it better. It's what got the rise out of it. So in the future, I may actually do that with the wet dough, like go crazy with the flour on the counter and just kind of, you know. You had a giant squirrel demand food today after your snowstorm. Is it wet dough? Is that meant to be a joke, Kellyanne? You just quit artisan bread making job? Oh, the job 2 weeks ago. Oh, nice. Nice. Bread's fun. I mean, it's quirky. Doesn't always work. Very hard to explain to people, you know. But I've made it enough now that, you know, I can make it. It's just kind of, it depends. It has its bad days. Yeah, but the Greek bread that's like challah is very good. Very nice recipe. Mom's recipe. And I like to make it a couple times, like several times a year just to have, because it's a good, but it's particularly good toasted, like I said. Oh my God, for breakfast. Oh my God. It's so good. Gluten-free bread, that is difficult from everything I've read. Yeah. Challah, I don't really like challah though. This is different. This is more flavorful from what I've had, at least. We put poppies on ours too. Poppy seeds on the Greek bread, if you have them. I don't typically have poppy seeds because they're expensive. But we would typically put poppy seeds on ours. Yep. I wouldn't mind getting more poppies, but again, they're expensive. I've got to find like an ethnic store that I can buy a lot. Actually, I should put that on my list. I should put that on my list for Trader Joe's or something, you know? But anyway. Snow in Grand Rapids. Oh, I can imagine. Michigan. I'm sure you got snow in Michigan. You know? Garlic bread? I like garlic. I love garlic bread, yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah, before the tariffs, exactly. Anyway. Well, we've been going an hour and a half, guys. I'm considering signing off. Trader Joe's is nationwide. They should. Well, they're across the nation. I don't know if they're nationwide, like whether they're in every state. We use sesame seeds. Yeah. Mexican bread, I don't know. The drones in New Jersey thing, I mean, I've heard about it. Honestly, a lot of it sounds like people being stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a drone that looks like an airplane. Well, maybe that's because it's an airplane. You know what I mean? Like, I keep seeing people saying, these drones, they actually look like airplanes. Again, maybe because it's an airplane. I'm not convinced. It feels like hysteria. You know, I do enjoy a good, you know, yes, or gyro, as you Americans say. Mexican honey puffs. Those I don't know. I mean, I know like Latinos make a nice like churros and other stuff. They make nice puff pastry, or not puff pastry, but pastries that you fry and puff kind of things. But I've not, honey puffs I've not had. Again, you're making me think of churros, which are very nice. Con chocolate. Remember that in Spain? Oh, the thick Spanish hot chocolate with churros. Oh my God. On the street corner, I was in heaven. I was like, oh my God. Because they thicken the chocolate too. It's like, oh, very nice. Very nice. Conchas. Oh, that's interesting. Seashells. All right, guys. It's been an hour and a half. Let's call it quits. So let me remind folks, as I said, for the Wagner Group patch, D. Gilliam won it. He does not seem to be around. The number 2 was Blood Claw, and number 3 was Wandering Chill. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to reach out to the other 2. And if none of them claim it, I'm going to put it up for auction again in a couple of weeks because it's too nice of a patch. I'm not just going to keep going down in price. So we shall see. And there we have it. All right. All right, guys. Well, you have a good evening. We survived our very polemical discussion. See? See, it's possible to have a serious political discussion and survive. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for the gifts. Oh, Wandering Chill did send a DM. Oh, that's good. Let me look. Oh, that is Wandering Chill. Oh, good. Okay. Excellent. Oh, that was nice of you. Thank you. Oh, that was very nice of you. Oh, Wandering Chill is a real person. Yes, because we had Wandering Chill had already bought Wandering Chill bought that other advert. Yeah. I remember you. Of course. Oh, good. Thank you. Excellent. Well, good. All right. I said I'd give it till tomorrow morning. Thank you for that. Or if you're not there right now. Oh, you're Wandering Chill did get back to me. That's great. Thank you for that. Since I said I'd give it to the morning, I'll give it to the morning for the other guy. Otherwise, I'll contact you in the morning, Wandering. Because I feel bad sometimes because like I want to give people 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? Actually, the auction. When did the auction end? Did the auction end on Friday, or did my auctions end before then? I'm already forgetting now. It may have been, or did the auctions end on Wednesday? It's already been forever, hasn't it? Hold on. When did the auctions end? I'm having less sympathy now. The auctions ended on 12/4. That was 6 days ago. Okay. All right. Less sympathy. Although I don't know when. Yeah, I'm having less sympathy. Yeah. All right. That's it. Wandering Chill gets it. Okay. It's yours. I'm having less. I was thinking the auctions were a couple days ago. I'm totally thinking the auction was I'm thinking the auction was Friday night. And I thought, well, it was Friday night. I want to give people time. It was last Wednesday. It was last Wednesday. Yeah. No. That's enough time. I mean, I should have put stuff up. I didn't because now it's too late. I mean, just because, like I said, I leave in 9 days. I don't want to be like rushed. This last, oh my God, I just boxed 20 items, 20 or 22 items because most of the auction items weren't, most of them were not, I figured I was going to sell to multiple people like 2 weeks in a row. It was all different people. I just mailed like 20 different things. It was not fun. But they're done. Most of them are mailed. 3 of them are not. The second drone is still sitting here. The grenade box is still sitting here. And I'm forgetting what the third item is. They're going to go tomorrow or the next day because they were heavy enough that I couldn't quite carry them. I couldn't carry them with everything else to the post office. So, the drone was clumsy because it's huge. The grenade box is heavy. So anyway, thank you for that, Wandering Chill. Good. I feel better now. I mean, again, often people sort of forget and don't realize till later. So it's rare we have somebody who just blows us off on the auctions entirely, but still, Anyway. All right, guys. All right, let's call it quits. Now it's been an hour and 36 minutes. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Choose. All right. See you guys. Have a good night. Thank you. And thank you, Wandering Chill. All right. See you guys.